Yes, I mean, in fact, absolutely. The certainty for my colleague you have just said, he said, if you have the death penalty in the law books, there will be people will be afraid to kill. I mean, as we speak, there are more than 100 murder trials going on in Israel. People are still killing people. So the issue of deterrence has not worked. It hasn't worked in Sierra Leone. It hasn't worked globally. This is because you and I know that if someone has to kill out of temperament, it will happen irrespective of the fact that death penalty is in existence or not. It does not stop people from getting into trouble. It doesn't stop people from killing people. It doesn't stop people from being accused of the death penalty. But there are a lot of reasons why the death penalty should be abolished. But firstly, let me tell you, there have been many instances where people have been wrongly convicted and they have been killed. And that is something which globally there's clear statistics, for example, in the UK, even in the US, where people have just been killed because there was an intention to prosecute and deter murder. And the prosecution will go all out to present evidence and sometimes even skew the evidence to make it look like the accused or the convict is the one who actually killed. And the other issue which you have to understand, and in fact in the US very recently, you see that 20 years down the line, 10 years down the line, or posthumously, it has come to prove that DNA tests have exonerated quite a number of people as not having really been responsible for the murder for which they were sentenced to death for.
Hang on. You say DNA test does prove that people are not responsible. In that case, I mean, that might be an exception. To every rule, there is an exception. We are saying, and I'm saying here, the presence of death penalty has served its purpose because the category, one of its category, which is treason, that if you're found guilty of treason, you'll be executed. You agree with me that for the past 10 years or so in Sierra Leone, we've not been seeing either abortive coups or successful coups. That I will tell you, it's as a result of the fear that if you're being caught in any coup d'etat, you'll be executed. That is one area where the death penalty, I say, has succeeded greatly.
If I'm saying that is the main discussion in Sierra Leone. From the introduction from Wakasa, you realize that most of the people who are actually being executed are political cases. And in a country like Sierra Leone, where the legal system is not really that strong, and a country like Sierra Leone where political intolerance has raised its ugly head since independence, people have been sent to the gallows, mostly because they want to get them out of the political context. And so now let us see from the statistics which he talked about from 1967 to now. There have been several coup d'etats or attempted coup d'etats. Sierra Leoneans are not going back to coup because of 1997. I mean, 1990, May 18, 1997. This is because the entire international community said Sierra Leone is a country that is going down democratic lines, and everybody shunned coup d'etat. That's why the military has been kept in the barracks. What the politicians can do is to say it's because of death penalty. That's why there has been no coups.
That in itself tells you how fair our justice system is. I mean, going back to Memrile, or what he said, all the coup d'etats, I'll tell you, but for the executions, but for the one carried out by the military junta, all of those that were executed were being tried and were being convicted. And they were only executed after conviction, and they were not only executed after conviction at the High Court, they were given an opportunity to appeal at the appeal court and right down to the Supreme Court. I'll tell you, if not all of them, it's because maybe they did not exercise their right of appeal.
No.
That is my answer.
If I could just come here, there is a situation of manslaughter or murder.
That's it.
No, wait. This is an important question, Mr. Deva. And murder continues unabated.
Look at Sierra Leone, for instance. There are people who go out at night to rob people.
Yes.
There are many bad people,
yes.
but people are still exercising restraint. They're still ensuring that they comport themselves. Because if you go across the red line and kill people, you know that definitely at the end of the day, you may be killed. So don't you think that has to an extent helped to control people?
I'll answer that question with another analogy. There are people who live in offices, who work in offices, where they control money with.
No, it's somebody. Let's talk about killing.
I'm coming. I'm answering the question with another analogy. There are people who are in offices, have absolute control, yet they don't steal money because they are afraid that if they steal money, they will go to jail. So there are people who obviously are not killing people, who are restraining themselves because they know there's death penalty. But it has not necessarily reduced murder in Sierra Leone.
Let me come to you, Lord Agibao. The truth is, he has been on his point and has been standing strongly on his point that this deterrence with which you came into the debate, holding it as a trump card, has not worked well for you. Because if you go down history, if you look at what happened 1967, 1968, 1971, 1974, and all those others that followed, people were killed. But it did not stop people from repeating those crimes for which others had been killed. Like, for instance, in the late 70s, there was the Wellington Street mortgage.
The fact that a reasonable man believes that if I commit murder, the punishment is execution or death penalty, we actually prevent him from committing it. And it has always worked. Now, globally, the argument is retribution or rehabilitation. I will take you on rehabilitation. Show me in Sierra Leone.
That's the point.
Yes, rehabilitation.
Not retribution.
It's not working. And if rehabilitation, it will not work. I only believe that the fact that you tell society that if you kill, you are going to be in prison will just escalate the spate of murder within the city and outside the city.
I have a question for you. Do you think
A brilliant prosecutor would change a borderline case into an easy
intention to commit that act? I am saying that such person we should be. The magistrate would have committed for murder. They will look at the evidence again and be certain that this person we believe has a case to answer for murder. And in most cases of murder, the law officers themselves go to prosecute, and you have very good defense counsel coming to defend. And at the end of
the point, I would sit here and say the lawyers would
won a murder case at the magistrate court where it was being alleged that a co-wife poisoned a little baby and killed her.
should be abolished?
I have listed more than 5 reasons. First, innocent people have been sent to jail.
Yes.
So innocent people have been sent to the gallows, not just in Sierra Leone but globally. Secondly, there has always been instance of adequate legal representation. Thirdly, all just believe 10 years, 15 years. I haven't really seen where someone has been tried for murder in Sierra Leone, convicted, and is killed the next year. It goes on and on and on, and state resources are being wasted on the same person. So even the family, the victim's family, they suffer. They sit there looking at this situation, waiting for this man to be penalty as reduced murder. We have more than 10, 15, 20 murders in Sierra Leone per year.
There have been a reduction in the treason trial cases in Sierra Leone, or even attempts to commit treason.
I want to give you an example. Statistics of that. Let me give you statistics.
Let me answer this.
And to see what people think. This one says, if the death penalty is abolished, the number of murder cases in our country will increase more than the way it is now. So I think the death penalty...
When was the moratorium on death penalty actually placed? How many murder incidents have occurred after that? Before that, how many murder incidents? Until we have statistics before us, we cannot say this is this and this is that. We're just speculating. We're all just jumping in this dark alley and saying, death penalty will increase or will decrease. So the reality is, we need to get a police statistics. We need to get national statistics that will give us how many people have killed.
DNA proved that these people weren't guilty as charged, and they were killed as innocent people.
Well, yes, internationally we take that from it, but also in Sierra Leone we have used the death penalty
How could you prove he was?
The TRC report, the Truth and Reconciliation report, 3 volumes.
How many years after? How many years later?
In his letter.
Isn't that natural?
Is it natural? No, everybody's denying
it. It is as a defense. And this person will never tell you I did, and I'll tell you that there is no evidence as a lawyer to say Fauna, Mina were executed and illegally or we
apart from the fact that they themselves claimed to have been innocent, what other means would you use to prove that in fact they were?
There has been, let me just say this. There is empirical evidence that has shown that because of the lack of independence within the judiciary, then
let's now check what people on the streets of Freetown think about the abolition of the death penalty. Let's watch.
Commonly people can call me Santos. This death penalty, me, I want to stay. What make I want to stay? The country, the worst of all, the city, the lawlessness is too much. She want to stay. This country have got discipline. The lawlessness is too much in the city. Too much. Nobody respect. People don't respect elders. They don't want to know who you be in society. Whether you own for enough for being a papa, they don't care. As you get problem with them, they take a problem for you. Very common. So me, when I want to stay, let's stay. They don't pull at all. I mean, the lawlessness boku. They don't even control the youth man. The youth them don't know nothing they about. So me, I want to stay.
The speech and hearing here, the interpreter for speech and hearing here in this country, and I see that that the law, which is the abolition for the death penalty, I want it to be implemented back again, because so many areas we hear about people, stabbing others, especially the youth, and they kill so many people around, and those people wrong. It's not right for it to be happening all the time in this country, and so we need this thing to come up again.
For these 2 instances, death penalty has not stopped them from occurring. Even though there is punishment for murder, yet we're seeing for the last 3 years has not stopped people from killing. The essence of these death penalties to give an inducement to the general society that some kind, if it's not still people are killing each other, still people are committing offenses of this nature. So I don't think it's of the essence to have it. My other point is that in England, where they have now abolished it, they have replaced it with corporate that are previously punished for life for death penalty and now replaced by
I still maintain that we have a very fair justice system. I mean, the structures are there, from magistrate court to the Supreme Court. You have the right to appeal. That in itself is fairness. Itself, the fact that our justice system is fair, it's not only meant for the rich, it's also meant for the poor.
Imam Saba Abdullah says the death penalty must be
These questions.
Why do you have to go and keep somebody who enjoys sufficient punishment to match that one?
I will abolish the penalty. Have life in prison.
Is it fair to have these, to domesticate these international
law in favor of homosexuality? Sierra Leone, we are against it. The trend in the international
who is we?
No, the Sierra Leonean customs and tradition is blatantly against homosexualism. I am against it. Yes, this is go in favor of homosexualism, more higher than now.
An implosion and an explosion. There's a thinking that there will be chaos and confusion in a situation where there is nothing to deter people from killing each other, because they know that it has been replaced by life imprisonment. What we will have is a society.
So, a liberal arts journalist, I will be okay. If I'm not speaking to a lawyer or a lawyer journalist, I'll be okay. when you write laws, international law, and your country walks up and say, I signed the Vienna Treaties or the Vienna Convention on Treaties 1969, what it is that is being argued is that people have natural tendencies to be homosexuals or lesbians, and
all these killings that have taken place, when it looks like the state murders, when it looks like the state kills, and the fact that a punishment, as you have said, they must kill you back. It does not look like this argument is going away anytime soon. Thank you very much for being part of National Encounter today. If there is an issue you think of the National Encounter, via hand, and we shall reply. Thank you once again. I would like these two lawyers to shake hands because it has been quite fast. Now it's friendly. Thank you very much. That's how we leave it for today. This program was produced by Hawana Tukonte. On behalf of one of us at Broad, we answer this whether question being asked is on the question we have at hand, which is whether
it's the weekly debate that keeps them sparring. Must. It's the program that everyone is talking about on SLBC radio and television.
Our guest this week is Raoul Mbog, reporter for Le Monde Afrique, the new online magazine. And since he's a journalist, we will of course be talking about news and information. The navies of 27 countries are boosting their capacities so they can better fight piracy in the Gulf.
As promised, it is a serious threat to the continent's sustained growth at a time when international investors are particularly interested. African nations are being called on to defend their territorial waters, of cooperation and information sharing in winning the war on piracy.
And they delineated zones throughout the Gulf of Guinea. Each individual zone is comprised of several countries, each with their own individual maritime operations center. Each maritime operations center controls the country's water space and reports back to the zone and to share information to combat crimes at sea.
A ship like my former ship that I was commanding, the Bakassi, who is over there, when I was going offshore, and it goes from border to another border, and you need information sharing.
Cutting the pirates off from their rear guard of criminal networks. So long as counterfeit goods find willing buyers on parallel markets, the pirates will be prepared to take their chances against patrols, no matter how well trained and equipped they may be.
Afrique, Slate Afrique, do a better job of it than has been done so far. Besides, there are obvious historical ties between Africa and France and the French media.
And for those that say you cover Africa from your cozy desk in Paris, what do you say to that? In Africa, what changes when you go there as a journalist from Le Monde?
After all, we are doing the same job, and there is a certain solidarity.
Africa is synonymous with war, famine, and coup d'etat, but there is more to the continent than that. As an African, do you do anything to rectify that, to qualify these observations?
Africa and West Africa, it is quite clear that there is a desire to get things moving. We tell these stories, but we also talk about dramatic events. It's quite clear that terrorism is on the rise, and we can see that a lot of people still find it very difficult to cope. How you want.
Well, it's easier.
France is part of an exchange.
welcome to Life by Design. How would you react if somebody were to tell you that success and failure in life, not a thing would happen to people by accident? There are things that people do that attract success. There are also things that people do that attract failure. What if somebody was also to suggest to you that success and failure in life, it's something that you can have almost total control over to decide which direction you want to go, to be a success or to be a failure in life? Well, I must confess that that is a tough case for sale, because there are people already where they listen and watch and say, no, I don't think that is true. Well, in fact, this is the case we've been trying to make all our life on Life by Design. Some people have caught it, they have acted upon it, and it's already shown, beginning to show in their life in terms of the transformation that is taking place. But some people still do not believe and are still stuck. But like salesman, we know they give up, because if we not sell, we know they eat. We are here once again. Maybe with new evidences for show you, for prove this case, and so that possibly, some way, somehow, you can again consider the evidences and change your mind. I'm Joe Abbas Bangura, and this is Life by Design.
Be the change that you want to see.
What is the main cause for success and failure in life? Why would an example of where 100 people have to start almost at the same place, similar circumstances, similar resources in life, but only 5 end up being outstanding, 15 end up being average, and 80 of those people just they struggle for make them up in their life, and they depend upon the average 15 people and the 5 outstanding people for making them able to make them through their life. Severely handicapped in life, with so much difficulties, but end up being outstanding in their life. But you get another person who get all the support, all the requirements for making succeed in their life, but end up broke. And for that matter, what is the secret of success in life? And maybe the secret of failure in life. You know, and people have suggested a couple of things where they say that the ingredients, if you put them all together, there's no way you're not going to be successful in life. And so they are talking about, hard work, perseverance, forget focus in life, and get a very strong family background, etc., etc. And they say if you put all of them things together, there's no way you're not going to be successful in life. But research by of them things you are when they drive hard work, they drive perseverance, they drive focus, they drive all the things we are talking about, and that thing, I believe. Now, ideas, opinions, or convictions where people get about life, where they determine how then they see and interpret and respect of what we consistently do. Listen to this I'm breaking this down, breaking belief down. We are all products of those things we consistently do, and what we do is a function of what we believe. Check and find out. It is not the events of our lives that shapes us. It's our beliefs. It's our interpretation. Raising 3 children, that the only one. Number 2, making them same faith. Is that one day. So long-term, sustainable, unhappy them. Then they never violate discipline. Every day they know side they want for. Another point, able talk. Then they na study say.
Yes, boss.
Is it here yet?
Not yet, sir.
What? And you know the conference starts tomorrow.
I'm sorry, sir. I'll put a call through to them now.
So, see to me where line broke.
If you're building a house on 0.
What's the meaning of? Wow, your office feels so. What?
Remove control. Rams electrical feet or to electrical.
They had force.
Government funded good.
Is that international consultants or contractors?
Obama took over power in this time now.
Is such as October.
Yeah, NEC is grateful to work with NCRA, and we have provided
their inputs.
Local councils across the country.
has been using health as
the objective social welfare chairperson of the said importation of the realities.
It's very unfortunate for us here. When we started our exam, at the middle of our examination, students were around to take the exams, and they were informed that there will be no examination because lecturers have not received not only their salaries, but the improvement does not reflect.